Look at this, everyone. Look at these. This is August 1st almost. This is from this little tree that I've been trimming back, but this is a sugarloaf. And this tree is loaded. This is my Neelam tree, and Neelam is loaded. A delicious mango. August 1st, there's still some hanging on there. Edgar. That's white puri. That's the perfect mango right there. Tastes great. Looks beautiful. Ready to be picked. This is a buttercream. It wasn't doing much at the beginning of the year. I had maybe 4 or 5 off this tree, but here we are, heading into August. And there's still about 10 more on there. It's one of the smallest trees in the yard. This tree is still loaded. This is my dot tree, and it had a second bloom. Little Gem is loaded, by the way. Good morning, everybody. It is almost August 1st, 2025, and it's time to give you an update on our yards to show you what's happening with the mangoes for August 2025. I'm going to turn the camera around and show you my mangoes here at Mango Land. We're going to look at the mangoes here, and then we're going to just get an idea of what's still hanging on the trees. Now, it's August 1st, 2025. We're doing the update here that I try to do the first of every month in the summertime. And mango season has been wonderful this year for us. And just, you know, I did spray sulfur this year. I didn't spray copper. I did spray sulfur. Next year I'm going to try not to spray anything and see what happens. So we'll see. But let's take a look now. All right. So one of the reasons I make these videos is that we can see what's still hanging and when. So that's why I like to date the videos. This is my Neelam tree, and Neelam is loaded. I'm not a big fan of tiny mangoes, and Neelam is a tiny mango, but it's loaded. It's just loaded. So for the sake of the video, you get to see how loaded it is. And this here is a branch of lemon zest that I just threw on here, and I just picked one off actually. That was just a lemon zest branch I threw on a while ago. And I do have on this tree 2 other branches. There's this one here, and then on the other side here there's another one. And these are from seedling trees that I planted. I just want to put the budwood on this tree just to see if I would get any mangoes sooner than the actual seedling tree. So from a mango tree in the front yard, the Neelam is looking good. Again, it's a late variety. It's nice taste. Sometimes they ripen uneven, but we'll see how they do. So these trees are just about done. That's my Pim Sam Moon. Didn't do great this year, but at the beginning of the season, the leaves were not looking great. And now they're looking good. I didn't spray it or do anything to it. But this is interesting because the Pram Kaime right next to it, the leaves now aren't looking great on this one, which was next to that one. But maybe something went from there to there. I don't know, but there's a few on the floor here I'll pick up here in a moment. Excellent mango. Very pleased with that one this year. Then we come over here to the ice cream. This was a top work that I did. First tree here in the house. The other guy that lived here had a Julie seedling, and we finally got to taste it. It wasn't good, so I top worked it with an ice cream. There's still 2 ice creams hanging on there. And ice cream trees are supposed to be dwarf trees. Well, I'll show you one in the back that's growing pretty quickly. So I'm not going to look at all my trees today. I'm just going to look at my mangoes. This was where my rosy gold was, and I'm glad I took it out because it's kind of opened it up, give everything more sunlight, more air. This is my Honey Kiss. And Honey Kiss, I still have 3 or 4 hanging on there. Now, this season, it seems it's ending a little early, this season. So, that's all right. A couple of weeks early. This here is a Juliet tree. I got my first mangoes off it this year. Very nice mango. Very impressed. And here is my test pollock. This was a winner this year. It was an early season mango, test pollock. And what I did was I started to trim back my trees. So as you could see here, compared to other videos, I started trimming back my trees. So the test pollock has been trimmed back. I still have other trees to trim or to prune, however you want to say it. Okay, here is my pineapple pleasure. Had a very good year in pineapple pleasure, and this will be trimmed or pruned back very shortly. Back there was my Angie. Angie's done for the year. Had a good season with Angie. Some mangoes don't need pruning while others do. Let's come through here. This is Ceci Love. Ceci Love. Now, I don't know if Ceci Love was considered a late season mango, but it still has a decent amount of mangoes hanging on it. That's Ceci Love. And there's ice cream. Look at this. This is supposed to be a dwarf tree, but by no means is this growing slow. This one is keeping up pace with all my other trees. And again, there's about 5 or 6 remaining on there. I'll give you a wider shot of that. This is probably the best tasting mango that I've had this year. It's right up there. And I'm going to take these dragon fruit poles out. They're not doing much there, but that's ice cream. It's actually going to need a trim. And great mango. Not supposed to be productive either, but this year this was pretty productive. All right. Here's my Carla, which is doing nice. Nothing on that yet. Now here's Sun Paris. This is an excellent mango. The spacing is going to be tight once it grows, so I took some budwood from this and I put it on my lemon zest tree that I'm top working. So that is Sun Paris. And here's my Kesar tree. So I finally helped my neighbor, who we just saw, cut back his Namdak Mai tree next door. So it's given more room and more space now to the Carla tree, and it's given more space and sunlight to the Kesar tree, and the Kesar tree's looking good there. Here's St. Maui coming along nice. Didn't get any mangoes off any of those. Now, this one here was a seedling tree, and I grafted on it. It's either Timor or apricot. And it's interesting because this graft took over here, but nothing's happening. But this graft took, and look at that. It's looking really great. And then they've got the seedling on the other side. So this tree I have to cut back. I'm waiting till I get the last mangoes off the tree. This is my Edgar. What a winner that was. It wasn't the most productive tree this year, but certainly a delicious mango. August 1st, there's still some hanging on there. Edgar. And once those are off there, I'll cut that tree back. What's your opinion about the Edgar variety?
Edgar, I have an Edgar in my yard, and it's a very nice mango. It's a classically flavored variety. It's more of a mid-late season mango. So it doesn't usually start until July. And it's been very productive for me. I had a lot of fruit on both. There's an Edgar here and an Edgar at the farm. So it's pretty good. It's not as good as some of the other Zill hybrids, like this one behind us, the Seacrest. I would rate Seacrest better than the Edgar.
But in flowering wise, is that?
It flowers no problem. It's very consistent. It's fruited pretty well for us.
I think it's an insurance mango.
I don't know if I'd go that far because I don't know how it would handle out west and stuff like that. There's not enough feedback on that variety. I would trust like a Pickering or an Angie more as an insurance mango, or a Neelam, or a Maha Chinook, for example. I would have a little more faith in it performing everywhere, you know. But Edgar's done reasonably well. Edgar, by the way, is a misleading name. So it was thought to be an an Edward Gary cross, hence the name Edgar. And it turns out it was most likely a Zill 80 seedling. So it's actually closer related to stuff like Super Alfonso or Fruit Punch or Carla. And so you were talking about Edgar. I actually like Carla, kind of occurs in a similar season to Edgar, and I like Carla better in terms of flavor and stuff.
All right, so that's Edgar. So here's my Malika tree, seedling tree, and Pickering tree. And I cut all these back. And even the Pickering, I cut the inside of it. That tree did wonderful this year. Nothing on the seedling yet. And Malika had several this year. Not much, but an excellent, excellent mango. And coming around here, I still have 3 or 4 fruits on my fruit cocktail, but I did go ahead yesterday and cut this tree back. Anyway, it was the biggest tree in the yard, and I wanted to cut it back, so I did cut it back, but there's still 2 or 3 on there, which I'll get to real shortly here. Here's my cotton candy. There's 1 or 2 left on there. I'll cut that a little shorter. Here's another one I cut yesterday. That's my coconut cream. I cut that back a good amount yesterday. And there's my sugarloaf. There's a bunch still hanging on the sugarloaf. A bunch. And this tree is loaded. And I didn't realize until I started to pull everything out and try to prune it in the middle. And I saw all of these on there. Not only is this an amazing tasting mango, but it looked like it might be one of my best producers. All over. And they're ready now. Look. Look. Beautiful. Clean. Delicious. Sugarloaf mango. And here's my gram. There's a few on gram. There's a bunch down there. Maybe 6 or 7 still on the gram tree. Here's my guava tree I cut back, my guava mango. That's sweet tart. Sweet tart is hanging on. There's still a decent amount on there. I will definitely cut that after the mangoes are off. But sweet tart, my other tree's loaded as well. Excellent tree. That's sweet tart. All right, moving along here, I have a phoenix tree, and I cut that back yesterday. Looking well. And this is a buttercream, and it's interesting because this mango tree, I'm planning on taking out just because space-wise. However, it looks like I'll be able to fit it in for another year there. And it wasn't doing much at the beginning of the year. I had maybe 4 or 5 off this tree, but here we are, heading into August, and there's still about 10 more on there. It's one of the smallest trees in the yard. It's still loaded. Now this tree just took off. That's a Super Alfonso. There's 1 up there. There's 2 or 3 still on there. Definitely going to cut this one back because that's growing pretty fast. But did wonderful this year. At the beginning of the season, it lost a good amount of mangoes. Whether it be the wind or whatever you want to contribute it to, a lot of mangoes fell off at the beginning of the season. Now back in the corner here, I have a seedling. Let's come around the Super Alfonso. I have this seedling tree. I'll come around and I'll cut it a little. I didn't do that yet. Nothing on there. Actually, it's one of these seedlings that I put on the needle in the front of the house. Alrighty. And here we go with white Paris. Oh, look at that. That's a beautiful sight. Perfect. Perfect. That's white Paris. And as you can see, that's the perfect mango right there. Tastes great. Looks beautiful. Ready to be picked. And there's still some on the tree towards the bottom. This was a wonderful tree this year. And this tree, if they say if you don't spray it, it'll get powdery mildew really bad. I did spray all my trees with sulfur this year prior to the mangoes coming out. But then it had another bloom and had a little powdery mildew, but it seems the mangoes broke through. But there's still some on there. And there'd be a lot more on all these trees if I didn't eat these so fast. Now here in the middle was a fruit punch tree, but that's one in the previous video I took out. Space-wise, I didn't want to create a mango hedge here. Do I regret it? Maybe for the budwood I regret it. It would have been nice to have, but space-wise it's nice, and I put a papaya there in the meantime. This tree is still loaded. This is my dot tree, and it had a second bloom. Look at that, folks. Look at that. That's from a second bloom. Look, there must be 50 mangoes still on this tree. That's dot. That's dot. And coming around here, I had a sea crest that I took out and I sold to the same guy that got the fruit punch, and that was right here. And even though it was 10 feet, with the way this dot was growing and that was growing, it was close. But I put here a honey kiss, and I think it's a good enough space between the coconut cream and the dot tree that it's going to grow beautiful there. So that's going to be honey kiss. Now there's another papaya tree there in the middle. I did have in that area, look at this dot by the way. Wow, amazing. So loaded. But I did have here a Karen Michelle. You know, buyer's remorse or regrets. I took it out, trying to open up the space a little, but I think I had more space here than the other place, and I don't regret it, but I do regret it. But it's going to open up nice space here now between that and my Sunrise, which did wonderful this year. So that's Sunrise. Next to my Sunrise is my Orange Essence. I haven't moved this one yet, and I'm not getting rid of it. I just got to move it. So I think I'm going to take my Orange Essence and top work my Little Gem. Little Gem is loaded, by the way, but I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed with it. So this Orange Essence is most likely going to move over to that area. Then I have my Peach Cobbler that did really nice this year. There's still one more hanging on. And then I had this one. This is a step mango that production was great, but I did not like any of the mangoes at all, and I decided to top work it with Karen Michelle. And it might be taking there. That one looks good. We'll see how this comes along. Karen Michelle. So this is going to be a top work of Karen Michelle. We'll see how it is. Now I'm going to go over to my yard and check it out and show you all what's growing on over there. Again, folks, as I'm walking over to my yard, I'm excited about just the mango season and what we're learning and seeing what's working and what's not. Let me show you this while we're looking at late season mangoes on the way to my yard. This is my neighbor's yard. As he was saying, look at the little gem on this tree. And Alex said it at Tropical Acres. If you want a late season mango, production wise, you're not going to find better than Little Gem. However, taste wise, some people say the best mango is the one you have, and there's not too many mangoes hanging now. I'm going to pass on the Little Gem, folks. I'm a mango snob. Little Gem's not cutting it. All right, so let's go and see what's growing on here. Still remaining for mango season 2025. This was my Pickering, and that did excellent this year. That's Pickering. Here's my cogshaw / ice cream tree. And that was a top work, but only one branch of ice cream took. The cogshaw is growing. And this is real tight in here, but I'm going to be cutting back that star fruit to open up the space. There's not much in terms of mangoes in my front yard that I did on purpose because I don't want to create too much of a red flag in the front yard here. But this here is Jahingar. And I didn't really get to taste. There were 3 mangoes on there this year that I didn't get to taste. There's still one hanging on there. But that's Jahingar. Now I'm technically in my neighbor's yard, my other neighbor, but he lets me plant here. So, all my neighbors are planting. I got my neighbor there. He's planting stuff now. My other neighbor's planting mangoes. This block has been grows paradise. So this is my neighbor's yard who let me plant some trees. And I got other trees other than mangoes here, but this one is an apricot. Apricot, great mango, doing really well in the ground here. That's apricot. Then I have some of these mangoes that I put in the ground. That one was a Kesar. But here's the all-star. Sunrise. Sunrise. Still a few on there. This tree was loaded this year. When those last ones come off, I'll cut it back. But that's Sunrise. This P22 I put in the ground last year as a 3-gallon. It's grown real well. I have to come and trim it up a little. Now this was a wild mango tree that was here, and I put on here Pineapple Pleasure and also this, which looks like White Paris. I don't exactly remember. And I have some other ones that I put in the ground. We'll see how they do. And this tree here was a dwarf Hawaiian that was pretty much dead. And I revived it, stuck it in the ground, see what would happen. It's coming along real nice. Let's see, Sunrise. All right, so I'm going to run next door now and show you my backyard. All right, as the mangoes are going out, star fruit and other things are coming in. But this tree I had cutting back. This is my triple tree. Angie was great this year. I cut this tree a lot. Angie was great this year. Fairchild was wonderful this year. And I even put some grafts last year of Karen Michelle, and they're looking okay. But on this tree, it was originally a Kent tree, and they're still hanging on. I got about 10 Kent on there that aren't even ready yet. So that's that. Alrighty, so here is my project, my lemon zest. It tastes the best, but doesn't grow the best. Painted it, top worked it, and I got my Sunpuri here that looks like it took. At least one of them took. And then there's another Sunpuri over here. And there's a 4026 that looks like it might take or might not take. We'll find out. Here's the MVP of the year, folks. Sweetheart. Still loaded. Still loaded. The MVP this year in terms of growth, flavor. When you take everything into consideration, length of time on the tree, amount of fruit, we got a winner in Sweetheart. Here's my Sugarloaf that did really well this year. I just cut it back, but it did really well. First year it did great. Over here, next to the little car, I got my cac tree, which did great this year, but it's all done with mangoes, and I had cutting it back. Cut it back, excited about that. Coming back here, a few more to see. This tree here is my emerald. Well, it's a cherry tree that was top worked with emerald. It did somewhat okay this year. I had maybe 6 or 7 mangoes on it this year. I haven't top worked this yet, even though there's no mangoes left because a friend's coming to get some budwood. So, and on side of this tree, I also had another branch that I put a Timor. I believe Timor, so we'll see how that does. Now, in between this and this jackfruit was a seedling tree that I literally cut in half. It was really, really tall. And you see this pole. This is my pole. That's 10 feet. I cut them to 10 feet. So that's a seedling tree. As you've seen in previous videos, here's my lemon meringue trees. I have 2 of them. 1 and then 2 over there. And these have been cut back, but they're way taller than I'd like. But those were my first trees, and I let them get out of hand. But those are my lemon meringues. All right, what's still hanging on? Orange sherbet. Orange sherbet. Still a good amount on the orange sherbet tree. Pulling off several every day. The Great Late M4. M4. Look. They're ready. M4. The Great Late M4. Hanging late, loaded, delicious. I'll take an M4 over a little gem any day. Any day. It looks like the raccoon said the same thing last night because there's 5 or 6 on the floor. And then we got this tree here, which I cut back. This was a Duncan tree that was top worked to a sunrise. And I had cutting it back, but it did wonderful this year. All right, everybody, that is the update that we have growing on here for the season here. And we'll keep you updated and do another video September 1st and see how everything went and show you my final pruning of the trees for the year. You definitely want to have all those trees pruned by September 1st. Put your comments and questions below. I got a lot of videos that I put on pause because I wanted to record mango videos. People are asking me, am I still doing tours at people's houses? Yes, I am. But some of those have been on hold because I've been filming all the mango seasons for the mango season. But until then, everybody, thank you for watching. Put your comments and questions below. Have a great day and keep growing.